The investigation had dragged on for weeks, and each day had been an emotional rollercoaster for Chijioke. What had started as a blur of confusion and suspicion was slowly unraveling, piece by piece. Chijioke, who had once been accused, confined, and abandoned, was finally starting to see the light, though it was not the kind he had imagined. His mind, once clouded by doubt and grief, was now being freed by the weight of truth. The breakthrough had not come from him, but from Sergeant Adebayo, whose relentless pursuit of justice had peeled away the lies. After the shocking revelation about Idris, everything started to make sense. But as the mystery began to resolve, the consequences of Ngozi's death, and what it meant for her parents, were just beginning to sink in. Chuka and Maimuna, the parents Chijioke had once considered his second family, had been thrust into an emotional abyss. The shock of their daughter's brutal death was made worse by the betrayal of the man they had trusted the most. Idris, once seen as a wise and successful businessman, had orchestrated their daughter's murder to cover up his mounting debts. For weeks, Maimuna had been in a state of disbelief, unable to reconcile the man she had loved for decades with the criminal he had turned out to be. She spent sleepless nights, her mind tortured by the knowledge that her daughter had been sacrificed in a grotesque plot. Chuka, on the other hand, was consumed by rage, not only toward Idris but toward himself as well. The guilt of being blind to his brother-in-law's greed haunted him. As the investigation unfolded, police discovered a series of emails between Idris and individuals involved in shady financial dealings. The more they dug, the clearer it became that Ngozi's inheritance had been the trigger for her murder. The life insurance policy, which would have secured her future, was a substantial payout, enough to wipe out Idris's crushing debts. Debts far worse than anyone had realized. Chuka and Maimuna knew that Idris's desperation had driven him to murder their daughter, but accepting that her killer was someone they had trusted so deeply was a blow too heavy to bear. Weeks passed, and more evidence linked Idris to various fraudulent activities. The chemical powder found at the crime scene wasn't random, it was used in industrial settings. The knife found, traced back to Idris's import-export company, had been purchased just days before the murder. Chijioke could finally breathe, but the relief was fleeting. In a small interrogation room, Sergeant Adebayo sat across from Chijioke, his expression serious but softened by the conclusion of the investigation. "It's over," Adebayo said, his voice calm but resolute. "Idris is in custody. Your name is cleared." Chijioke